So the second thing that we watched was, oh my god, I totally forgot. I totally forgot what the actual second thing we watched is. Okay, actually, let me skip that. Let me go to the third thing first, because it dovetails here. The third thing we watched was Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon. The Shaun the Sheep movie that came out in... Oh god, was it? Was it actually... right. In late 2019/2020 worldwide. So, from what Kat told me, this was a movie that kind of got... This was the Shaun the Sheep movie. This is, I think, actually the second Shaun the Sheep movie. I think the first one came out like 2018, 2017, something like that. So Farmageddon came out in like 2020, and from what Kat tells me, so looking up the release date, it was February 14th, 2020. That's pretty rough, buddy. That was like the week COVID hit. Like, I remember it. I remember... Was it Labor Day? No, that's not when Labor Day happens. What am I talking about? Did it come out on Valentine's Day? It's so weird. It was like the week or the week before COVID hit. And this kind of got wiped away. There was a meme about like, oh hey, retweet this with a GIF or a picture of the movie, a movie that came out the year you graduated high school. And I just saw people retweeting that with movies that came out in their year they graduated, and I decided to go look up. I'm like, I didn't do it myself, but it made me think like, oh yeah, what came out? What did come out in 2020, which was the year I graduated. And I looked it up, and I was looking down the list of 2020 movies, and I was like, wow, I don't remember a single one of these. I can't remember a single... Like, let me actually, like, look these up. 2020 movies. Run, Greenland, The Empty Man, Midnight Sky, Greyhound? Is that Tom Hanks? Songbird, The Secret Dare to Dream, Possessor. What are these? 365 Days, The Call, Pieces of a Woman, Voyagers. Did these happen? Are these real movies? Oh, Tenet. Tenet came out. I remember that. I legitimately don't know. That's the only one of these that I can remember. I'm looking through like all the... Oh, did the Monster Hunter movie come out in 2020? Criminy. Yeah, just New Mutants. Really? Oh, Disney Plus. I vaguely remember New Mutants. Yeah, so movies basically didn't exist in 2020. Honestly, like, so much pop culture got just, like, derailed. The pop culture machine just got derailed by COVID. I feel like culture just it was just on ice that whole year. So this movie was kind of a victim of that, and it's a shame, because Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon is great. It's an amazing movie. It was fucking fantastic. So it's interesting because Aardman has like a weird history with films. The one we watched right before this was Flushed Away, which was the movie that excuse me, which was it was like a co-production with DreamWorks from 2006. Yeah. It's like Flushed Away. I remember hearing people who, like, knowing people who really like Flushed Away. And we watched it, and compared to their other stuff, it's just... It feels much more like a DreamWorks movie than an Aardman movie, and not really in a good way. I wouldn't call it terrible, it's just very fine. It's very, like, by the numbers, family CG animated movie. Fish out of water kind of story. It's just okay. The animation is mostly it mostly holds up. Thankfully it's kind of it's a little bit reminiscent of, in my mind I can at least say that it's sort of reminiscent of, the claymation, not the most detailed models or textures or anything, so it works. It's fine. There's definitely, like, oh god, they're in, like, they're in, like, in the house at one point, and they're in a room, and it looks like a tech demo room to, like, show off the new lighting engine kind of thing. But for the most part, it's okay. The most Aardman thing about it is that it's so funny. I think I mentioned this last week. Every character in an Aardman production looks British. Even here, where they're all rats, they look like British rats. I think it's the teeth. I don't know, man. These rats look British, dude. And going from, so, like, one of the things that I was, like, a little, like, that made it feel much less Aardman to me was that there's very few, like, sight gags and visual things and just clever little, I don't know, like, literally just visual gags, which are in my mind, I realize now are really a hallmark of Aardman, even in, Wallace and Gromit that has dialogue and all that. A lot of the humor in like, their animations comes from the movements of characters, funny little just visual jokes, just stuff like that. Maybe not. It's not necessarily like the humor doesn't necessarily come from the dialogue. And Flushed Away is like, the jokes it does make are usually mostly through dialogue, and I thought that was weird. There is one genuinely really funny, clever bit, which is like, they got like the main villain. He's a frog guy, and he's communicating to them over like a cell phone. So what they do, it's like a video on a cell phone. So what they like a live video call, and they basically strap this flip phone to like another frog who's like a mime, because he's like it's like a French frog. French frog. So the mime is like the mime is like making movements as the villain is speaking, and like trying to like making little like gestures and flourishes as he's speaking, and like there's a point where like he turns around and the villain has to like tell him like, no, turn back around. And it just, and like the mime turns back around, but the villain himself is like turned around, and is like, wait, I gotta turn back. It's just like this silly, like dumb thing that's like, it's very Aardman to me now, having watched more of their stuff. And that stuff is it's like the only real example of that in the movie. The biggest plus I can give it is that it doesn't have a lot of toilet humor. I hate toilet humor. I have always hated toilet humor. Even as a child, from the youngest age, I hated like potty humor. For the most part, I could probably laugh a little bit at certain things, but just like making a poop joke isn't. I like actively despise it. That's why I fucking hate Bo Raicho. You guys know I hate Bo Raicho. If I talked about how much I hate Bo Raicho, why do they fucking keep bringing back Bo Raicho in Mortal Kombat? He's in all the 3D games. He's in MKX. And he's like top tier in like every fucking game he's in. I can't believe it. So you always see him. He's just throwing up and farting everywhere. And it's like, fucking God, get this character out of this stupid series. Yeah, Flushed Away is perfectly average. It's fine. So jumping from that to apparently they had a very bad time doing Flushed Away. Maybe if I can like, is there any? Maybe there's some details on the Wikipedia. It does have a Wikipedia, right? Yes, it does. Okay, that's weird. Production. Aardman's experience with DreamWorks during the making of the film led to a split between the two studios. And there's a New York Times article. Oh, great. Paywall. And let me just get rid of that. Haha, you have a oh shit, I deleted the article. Fuck. Fucking goddammit, paywall bullshit. Oh my god. Okay, let me see if I can use my uBlock Origin zapper to get rid of all the. There we go. Oh no. Damn it, I can't read the full article unless I pay. Okay, well, we're not gonna. I guess we won't expound on that. I love I love keeping that stuff for historical purposes. I gotta pay for it. Yeah, so they didn't have a good experience with them, and I can kind of see why. You could feel a lot of like, put a pop song in. Have it end with a pop song, kind of like, kind of stuff. It feels really DreamWorksy. Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon, if we jump forward about 10 plus years, to now Aardman doing mostly their own thing. I think they're with like a different production studio, or it's like another co-production, but it's really an Aardman thing, really an Aardman project. I'm going to finally talk about Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon. This movie's great. I don't even know how much I have to say about it because it's kind of just really good. I really enjoyed the Shaun the Sheep shorts that we watched together. And this movie feels like a really extended Shaun the Sheep episode. It feels like a feature-length Shaun the Sheep episode that's like, it's not even that long. It's like an hour, it's like 90 minutes, something like that. Hour and a half. Hour 25, about that length. And it's the same. We were like 5 minutes in. I was already really enjoying myself, and and I realized, I said, "Hey, there's been no dialogue this entire time." And Kat goes, "Yeah, the first Shaun the Sheep movie didn't have any dialogue either, or it didn't have any dialogue the whole way through." And I was like, "Do you think this one will have any?" She goes, "Probably not." And I was like, "Fuck yes, I love that. Thank you." Because I feel like if it was a studio film, they would force them to make someone talk, like some amount of dialogue. There's human characters in the movie, right, who like do things and like they're like, they're not just background characters. There's like real human characters in the movie, never speak. They'll make little sounds and noises, but there's no dialogue. Everything is just communicated visually, and it's wonderful because it's just what they do best, which is just telling a story visually. With just the movements of the characters, their expressions, little interactions that they have, funny little sight gags, and it's great. It's really funny. It's a really funny movie. Like, really clever little jokes. It's just it's good. It's about it's Farmageddon. It's about Shaun, their little farm. Shaun the Sheep's farm, there's like an alien that crash lands on the farm, and Shaun and the alien become friends, and Shaun has to help the alien get back home, and it's really cute and charming, and it moves at a very very brisk pace. The pacing's great. You just A to B to C to D. You understand everything that's going on, and they just kind of use that to tell some funny jokes and set up these situations with like, oh, they get into wacky little hijinks. Messing around with alien technology, or going to town. Oh no, the alien discovers sugar and eats a bunch of sugar, and all that, and it's great. It's really delightful. Kat said it's probably the hardest she's ever seen me laugh at like a movie she put on. For me. Granted, we haven't really watched that many comedies, but yeah, it's great. I would highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's probably on other stuff. Isn't it? Where is it? Pretty much just on Netflix. But yeah, I think that's just where they dumped it when it just got taken out of theaters. But yeah, if you got Netflix, check it out. It's very delightful. I feel like I spent more of this talking about, like this segment talking about why Flushed Away is just okay. Excuse me, than like the movie I actually want to talk about. But really, that's all I have to say. There's not much that you can say other than it's good. There is like one thing. The one thing I was like, okay, they use some pop songs, and I'm like, meh, you don't have to. It's not like, and there's like score, right? There's soundtrack in the movie, right? There's like regular, like a non-licensed soundtrack. It has an OST, and like, it's not super egregious. It isn't like, oh god, like it's not playing freaking like super mainstream pop music kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, this was like a money deal. Like everything generally, the songs they pick match up with what's going on. It doesn't feel too ham-fisted. It's more so, I think what's off-putting is hearing like spoken words, like hearing language in the movie when there's just absolutely zero dialogue the entire time. And then suddenly hearing someone speak, even in a song, is like kind of jarring. And it kind of clashes a little bit. But it only happens like maybe 3 times. And overall, it really didn't impact my serious enjoyment of the film. Yeah, absolutely delightful.